Okay, so this evening, so like I said, I'll be taking you through decision, iteration, and scenarios. Okay, so let's jump in. Okay, as you can see, I'm facilitating this with Christiana. Okay, what is the agenda? We are going to be building a condition for your robots to follow, make the robots repeat a set of action, set the stage for multiple outcomes based on the value of one item, then question Q&A. Then I'll be sharing some link with you also for academic follow-up and example. And I'll also be giving an assignment. Okay, so let's jump in. Introduction to decision in UiPath StudioX. Okay, so for decision basically just this with you making a true or false decision, just like in our normal day-to-day activity, we make decision. Either you want to take a bus or you want to go with other means of transportation. Either you want to spend your money or you don't want to spend your money. We make decision always. So also in day-to-day activity in our workspace, we also make decision. So for UiPath StudioX, to make decision, we use what we call the if statement. And it is found under the common activities. I'm going to show you that on the StudioX very soon. So basically, when we make decision, when you feed the bot with a condition, the bot either make a true or false decision output. Either it is true or it is false. If it is true, then the bot does this. If it is false, then the bot does the other one. So it's basically just normal making a decision, giving it a condition to follow. If the condition is true, then you want the bot to go through that route. If the condition that you have put is false, the bot go through the other routes. It's as simple as that. Yeah, I just said the if activity is used when we want the robot to choose between two options under a certain condition. The condition must be either true or false. Okay, so be quick before I continue to the next one. I want us to just quickly do a simple demo on UiPath StudioX. So can we all jump in and open our UiPath StudioX? Can we see my screen? Can we see my screen now?
Yes, now studio is on screen. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I want us to just do a simple thing around if activity. So this is my own StudioX. If yours is showing UiPath Studio, you can change it to StudioX from here. And I think one of us have done that before, so I'm just showing you, going over that again. So let's go back to start and let's create a blank task. I hope we are excited about this. Okay, we can just call it basis and give it any description of your choice. Okay, and click create. Here, the bot is going to restore the dependencies that it needs. I hope we are doing the same. It's just going to take us a few seconds. I'll take UiPath Studio a few seconds to do that. Okay, and voila, we are here. Okay, good. So like I said, the if activity is always found where? In the common here. You can see common. So you see your if activity. This is it here. Common, control, then if activity. I hope we can see it. You can hover on the activity to read more about it. It evaluates a condition added using the condition builder and execute the activity, either true or false. So we are just going to drag that and drop. Okay, so what we are going to do is I want us to, since Dennis taught us folder and file automation, we are going to build on what Dennis has taught us. We are going to check if a folder exists. Okay, but before we do that, we have to get what we call file exists activity, either a file or a folder. You can quickly search for that. I'm going to drag and drop that also. Can we all see it? So we have file exists. Now let's check for the file or the folder. You can either use the file or folder. Let's use the project.notebook for this. Want to check if this file exists. So you can either leave it the default exists from file exists, or you can create your own. Okay, so this is going to tell us, it's going to return a true or false. Either the file exists or the file does not exist. So I want to check, does the file exist? We want to let the bot check if the file actually exists. So if the file exists, I want to carry out some activity. If the file does not exist, I want to carry out other activities. So I want to check, we are going to put a condition, file exists. From here, you can see that I've saved, I'm using file exists. So I just click on file exists, which is this. Then this is, if the file exists, then do this. If it does not exist, then do this. So you can either hide the X part of it, or you show it if you want to, the bot to carry out other activity if the file does not exist. So if the file exists, I want to write a message bus. Like I said, I'm going to make it simple. Message bus that's the file exists. But if the file does not exist, I want the bot to tell me that the file does not exist, or the file cannot be found. It's as simple as that. I hope we've done this. Let me go over it again. The first thing I did is to pick the file exists activity to check if a file actually exists. And here we are using an Excel sheet. One will check if the particular Excel sheet exists. Just like your daily workspace, maybe you need to confirm if a file or a folder or a document exists before you can carry out some transaction. You need to check first. You can't, because if you train your bot to just go and check and go and work on the file, and if the file is not there, the bot is going to throw an error. So you always want to use your condition activity to check if that file actually exists. So the first thing I did was to drag and drop file exists activity and put the path where the file is supposed to be, or where I assume the file will be. Then save my output, the output of this file exists activity. You can always check your property part to understand what it does. If you over on this now, you see what it says, where to save the result of your check. That is, your check is either going to return true or false, which is Boolean. So it's either true or it is false. So if the file exists, it's going to return true, which is going to come to this then part of the if statement. If it does not exist, it goes to the S part of the statement. If you have question, you can drop it on the chat. I trust my people will answer you or will respond to you. Okay, let's run this. Let's check if this file exists. Okay. Can you all see the output? The file exists. Were we able to do this? If you're able to do that, you can drop on the comment section, or if you have any question around this simple automation. We just put a very simple bot to check if a file exists. Any questions so far? Okay, let's check. What about if the file does not exist? If this file does not exist, let's assume this file does not exist by creating another. This is project notebook. Let's put project notebook 2. This is project notebook 2. Let's check. And we know that project notebook 2 does not exist. Let's check. Let's confirm if our bot is going to return first and go to the message box, this file cannot be found. Now let's run it. Similarly, let's see. The bot is running. Oh, great. We can see the file cannot be found. That means this file does not exist. Are we together? Okay, if there is no question, let's jump back to the next thing we want to talk about, which is iteration in UiPath Studio. Okay, iteration, like the name implies, it means doing something over and over and over and over again, as long as the condition that you put is satisfied. It's continue moving, continue iterating itself, it continue the bot continue performing a particular transaction over and over again. For those that are coming from programming background, we call it loop. We have loop, we have for each, we have for statements and the rest of them. But for us, it's just simple. I'm making it as simple as ABC. It means going over something, going over it. Just like every morning you wake up, you brush your teeth. The next day when you wake up, you brush your teeth. The next day when you wake up, you brush your teeth. It's an iteration. It's something you do over and over again. Or every morning, okay, not everybody goes to work during the weekend, but whatever you do over and over again is iteration. And in UiPath StudioX, we have an activity, or we have different activities that we can use for that, to carry out one particular thing over and over again. Now we have the for each activity. For the for each activity in StudioX, we have 3 types of for each activity. We have Excel for each row, we have for each file in folder, and we have for each email. Okay, I'm going to talk about them shortly, then we are going to demo 1 or 2 things together also. Okay, for each role, what it means basically is the bot iterates through the rows in an Excel. And what do I mean by that? It means the bot checks each and every row and perform set series of activities on the rows. In an Excel, we know Excel is divided into rows and columns. So the bot checks each and every row and perform an activity. How do we use that in our daily activity, in our workspace? Let's say, for example, you have an Excel, and in the Excel, you need to copy from each row, the data from each row, you need to paste it in a Microsoft Word, or you need to perform some maybe other activity with the row. You can use iteration, which is for each activity, to go over those rows. That is, it checks the first row, it does what you want it to do. It goes to the second row, it does what you want it to do. It goes to the third row, it does what you want it to do. See, it gets to the last row, then it's stop running. That is Excel for each row. Now, we also have for each file in folder. Apart from each file in folder, we also have for each folder in folder. I'm going to show us shortly, and we're going to do 1 or 2 things. For each file in folder, what we do, for each file in folder, what we do basically is, or what the bot does basically is, it checks each and every file in a particular folder you've told it to check, and probably perform 1 or 2 transactions, or perform 1 or 2 activities on those files. So let's say you have a folder and you have about 10 files in that folder, and you want the bot to check those files and probably perform something on those files, probably do something with those files. You can use your for each file in folder. So what the bot does is it goes to the folder, pick the first file, perform what you wanted to, you've instructed it to do. When it's done with that, goes to the next file in the same folder, perform what you've asked it to do, goes to the third file until it's done running the files. Let's take for instance, or where this you can apply this. Let's say you have series of zip files, and you want to unzip each and every of the files, each and every of the zip file. You can use the for each file in folder to pick the zip file, unzip it, go to the next file, unzip it, go to the next file and unzip it. That is for each file in folder. Then the last one here is for each email. This particular one, if you have a lot of emails, like 1,000 emails, and you want to perform an activity on each and every email, you can use for each email. This goes to the email address, goes to maybe Outlook or Gmail, whatever your email you are using, goes there, pick the first email, perform the activity, then take the second email, perform the activity that you have instructed it to do. So enough talking. Let's see how it works in the real sense. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share again. If you have questions, you can ask. You can just drop it here on the chat and my team will respond to you. Okay, so let's take let's revamp this our file exists to folder exists. I'm just going to delete this guy and replace it with folder exists. So, but before we do this, I want us to create a folder. Okay, let's quickly do something. Let me stop sharing and you share again, sorry. Okay, so let's go to wherever you want to create your folder. Just follow me as I do this. Create a folder and call it the sys. Can we see my screen? And Jonathan, can
yes,
you
everyone.
see?
Yes, we can see your screen. So guys, create a folder in your drive in whatever location you want.
Oh, okay, thank you. So we have create a folder, call it whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to drag and drop some 3 invoices. You can create anything. It could be Excel, it could be Microsoft Word, it could be PDF, but I'm using PDF. So I have invoice
you
one.
Know what?
Invoice.
Emmanuel, share those invoices in chat so they can download them and upload them in the folder.
Okay, I can't share these invoices actually.
Yeah, they are data. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
the data.
Guys,
actually.
if you have some PDFs.
Yes, you can just create any random PDF. Some
you
PDF,
just make copies of the PDF and name them exactly like this: invoice 1, invoice 2, invoice 3. That will still
you
work.
can do Control-C, like Afi said. You can rename it again and call it invoice 4. So if you've done that, I want us to, for this section, I want us to zip this file. Then we'll tell the bot that each and every file in this folder, I want you to unzip them, although we know the output. But let's just try it. So we're going to, I'm just going to zip them quickly. That's my invoice 1. my invoice 3, and my invoice 4. So I'm going to delete the main Excel. I don't need them. Okay, so I'm going to say something quickly. Afe taught me this, so I'm giving him kudos to that for that. So what we do, you need to create a file, 2 folders, call one of them inputs. Why is it capital letter? Call its input, then call another outputs. Now, the good thing about this is so you don't just have data scattered. Afe is very organized, so it makes sure that we are organized too. So I'm just going to follow that too. So this is inputs. You're going to have invoice 1, invoice 2, invoice 3, and invoice 4. This is just the whatever you are input means what you are feeding the bots, and output will be the output of what you've done, like the results of what you've done. So we are going to pick this guy. They are zipped here. We are going to unzip them and put them here. So we can either move the files or don't worry, we are going to see how it's been done. Okay, if you have done that, let's jump into UiPath StudioX. So now let's tell the bot where the folder is. Let's go back this guy. I put mine in video, and we have this sys in inputs. So we have inputs here. Have we done that? Okay. So now, like we did the last time, let's just call it folder exists, or you can leave it like this. Let's leave it like this. Let's leave it like this. So we have this. So here we are just going to replace this with exists from folder. So this is going to tell us the file or the folder exists and the folder cannot be found. Okay, let me just rename this for context. The folder cannot be found. And this one, we know if it's found, then I want it to perform set of activities. Okay, now, so if this folder exists, let's iterate through the files in that folder. Instead of me coming, there are different ways we can do this, but this is the best way to do it. Or this, let me not say the best way. This is convenient way to do it because most of us on this call is not coming from programming background. Okay, so we're going to look for each. Also, for each activity is found where? In the common, this place, common. So let's, okay, it's not found there. For each folder, it's not found there. Okay, it's found under file/folder. Sorry about that. So we have for each file in folder. We also have for each folder in folder. Let's assume we have more than one folder here. Okay, like we have more than one folder here. And each and every folder want to carry out the same thing. That is, we want to unzip the files in those folders. Then we can drop this first, do for each folder in folder, then put for each file in folder. Does that make sense? Okay. But that's not what we want to do. Let me just delete it. I just wanted to explain that. That is the good thing about UiPath StudioX. You can iterate through the folders and also iterate through the files. So, but let's go over for each file in this folder, this particular folder. So what is the folder that we are using? This folder, and the folder exists. Then I'm not going to check current file. This means for each current file, that is for each file in this folder, this particular folder that we say exists, So let's pick it. You can just copy and paste it here. So for each file, that is for each current file in this place, I want you to unzip it. Okay, so, but before we do that, I want us to check something. Let's have our message box again. Okay, our message box now wants to tell us the folder name. So let's see the folder parts. Okay, let's check if what we've been doing, what we just did is working. So let's go on. Let's just test this. Okay, can you see the first file, invoice1.zip? Is seeing it. It's going over it. Can you see it's iterating? It's checking the second file and it's giving me what output, message box. You know, I told it if the folder exists for each file, just tell me the parts, the full 5 parts of the folder, which is this. Can you see invoice 2, the second one? The next one, invoice 3, and the last one, invoice 4. They need to stop running. So can we see that? That is it. So now, but I don't want, this is not what I want. I just don't want the bot to be telling me the 5 parts. No, I don't want that. I want to unzip those files. So we're going to search for extract/unzip file activity, and we're going to drop it. So let's take out this. You can leave it there if you want, but I don't always want to click OK. Okay, so what we want to do now is file to extract. So what is the file that we want to extract? Let's go over this. So we check the current file, that is this current file. The current file now is picking each and which is going to be, for us, is going to be invoice 1 for the first one and invoice 2 for the second time. So we have invoice 1, that is current file. So current file and full name, the full 5 parts where we have the .zip or zip. So then where do I want to put the zipped file? So there are 2 ways we can do this. Either we put the zip file in the same incoming folder or input folder, then from there, move all the files to our output. But that's just going to be a longer route when I can just determine the destination from here. So I'm going to determine the destination, which is going to be the sys and output. So we have outputs. If you were able to do this, or if you have questions, please let us know. So let me go over it again. The first thing I did was to check if that folder exists, because that folder is paramount to what we want to do. It's very, very important to what we want to do here. So I want to check if that folder exists. Okay, if the folder exists, which is this, if this folder, this is the condition, if this folder exists, I want to now iterate through each and every file in that folder. So if the folder, the files in that folder are definitely zipped, like we did, you did, I did. If they are zipped, I want to now unzip them. So this for each is to iterate through the files. So I'm saying for the current file, the first file you are picking in this folder, which is the same thing as what we have here because it actually exists, then I want to now unzip them because they're zipped. I want to unzip them. But now, not just unzipping them, I want to unzip them and put them in an other folder, which is the output folder that I have created, which is this. So we are going to, what is going to happen is this zip files is going to be unzipped and it will drop here. So the good thing is I'm going to still have my zip files and have my unzip files here. So let's run it. Let's test what we've done. Okay, I'm running. Okay, our bot has proven himself to be great again. So can you clap for your bots if you got it? So we have the zip file now we have this invoice 1, invoice 2, invoice 3 to invoice 4. So the bot was able to zip these files and move them into this place. So you see, for each and every file in that folder, this activity or this activity that you want the bot to do was carried out. It was able to unzip them away together. Okay, so if you have questions, you can drop it. But if you don't, let's move to the next. Okay, the next we want to do is switch activity. Is the scenario in UiPath StudioX. Now, scenario in UiPath StudioX, we have activity called the switch activity. It is found under the common activity, just like the if activity. And the switch activity is used when you have an item whose value determines different outcome. Let's say in this scenario, you have, if this is this, do this, like we call it case. We have case 1, like this diagram we have here. We have case 1, you do this. We have case 2, you take this action. We have case 3, you take this action. Case 4, you take this action. Then default, if none of this is satisfied, then you do this. Okay, so I hope you understand that. Let's say, for example, you can have an Excel file, and in that Excel file, probably a column or a sheet. Is it sheet or row? A cell, no, not a sheet. A cell in an Excel, the value changes. Let's say you can have 20, you can have 40, you can have 50. And if it is 20, your organization, if the particular cell is 20, you need to go to this application. But if the value is 40, you need to go to this application. If the value is 60, you need to go to the application. In that scenario, if activity is not going to work, because it's more than 2 things to work with. So you can use your switch activity. So you provide the expression. The expression is going to be read the Excel sheet, Excel cell. Then if it is 20, I want you to do this. Go to this application. If it is 40, I want you to go to the application. And if it is 40, I want to 60, I want you to go to the application. But if it is 0 and it is empty, then timeout or send a mail that there's an error. So I won't be able to demo this because I don't have Excel installed on my laptop. But then I have great assignments for us. So I want everybody to go to academic.uipath. Don't mind my internet. Click on learning by role. Click on RPA Citizen Developer Foundation. And I want us to click on this decision, iteration, and scenario. You are going to learn more from here, but I want us to take the assignment there. We're going to practice what we have here. So we have scenario here. I want us to do this as an assignment. Yes. No, sorry, this practice working with multiple templates, sorry. I want us to do this. So when you are done, you can share it with any of the instructor or facilitator. Or if you have questions, you can share it with us. So if you have any question, you can ask now. We've created our robots. So you've discovered how you can create robots that follows condition repeats a set of action over different items and can take different paths based on value of one single element. So Q&A. Okay, yes, the topic it was scenario, decision, iteration, and scenarios in StudioX. Take the course and practice this. You are going to submit it. I'm going to drop my email address. I don't know if that is allowed, Christiana. Because I'm going to know if
you want, yes, you can drop your email address. I mean, it's your email address, so your responsibility, your data.
Christiana. Okay. So I want you to practice so we can know you've been following. And if you have questions, you can also reach out to any one of us. So that's that. Any other question? Christiana, over to you.
Okay. Do we have any questions for Menti today?
Yes, we have.
Okay, guys, do you have any questions regarding the session? If you have and you want to ask something about this specific course on iterations and scenarios in StudioX, now is the time to ask Emmanuel, Afe, Jonathan, Akpeko. We have all of them in the chat, so please ask away. Come on, guys, unmute yourselves and ask if you have any curiosities or regarding the software as well, or the learning path in Academy. No questions?
Or should I ask my own question since nobody's asking question?
I can't believe that no one has any questions regarding this. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry, Christiana.
Okay.
Yes, hi Emmanuel, hi Christiana. I have one question. So in that particular course, right, in that particular session, we need to, in order to complete this particular, decision, iteration and scenarios, it is mentioned like the prerequisites. So there are like 3 prerequisites, like it is mandatory we need to complete, because first one I have completed, but second, third, like is it mandatory to complete in order to proceed with this iteration one?
Okay. I didn't actually get the question. Christiana, do you want to?
You mean the course in Academy, Anmol?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
in the
prerequisite for it?
Course prerequisites. Yeah, it's there. Before taking this course, you should complete the following courses.
Okay,
yes, because it's probably asks you. I'm just looking at it right now.
Okay.
Let me. For prerequisite for working with scenarios.
It's like this. So Anmol, this is the thing. So decisions, iterations, and scenarios. It's a course from the main course, which is RPA Citizen Developer Foundation. Yes, which is the main learning path in for StudioX. This is the main course, yes, and it asks you as prerequisites because the learning path, as you can see, begins here. You get started with StudioX. So you go through these 3 until you reach decisions, iterations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to fulfill the prerequisites, right? In order to complete.
Yes, because I'm supposing you will want to finish the whole foundation in the end.
Correct.
All of you will want to do that. And since they are easy and the learning path captured this way to help you, they have also videos, they have exercise packs. So you can go through these first 3 until you reach decisions, iterations, and scenarios and complete. Okay. And then continue with the learning path.
Yeah, and just to add, the 3 prerequisites there will already be treated in these preceding sections.
That was what I was about.
Word automation, yeah, UI, those have been done last week, and you already
been done last
week. Correct.
Okay, I think Sarita is asking us, may I know for each is used for what? Sarita, what do you mean? For each function. Okay. Emmanuel, answer that, please. For what is used for each.
Okay, like I said, when I was explaining, I said for each is basically iterating through data. So I said it is used for, instead of you having to do things having a lot of long code doing do this for each and every data. You can just put it in a for each. That is, for each file or for each this role in this, I want you to carry out this transaction, which is I want you to carry out this activity. And like we demo, for each file in this folder, I want you to do this. You know, we could do unzip this first file, unzip the second file, unzip this. Okay, let me share my screen quickly. Sorry, please, Christiana.
Yes, you will also, when we get to the Excel session, you will see that that specific function, it's also in Excel automation and operates on for each row or for each column. So it basically has to do with choosing one item and doing the same function for each item within that folder or within that sheet.
Okay, if I may comment.
Yes,
Emmanuel, can you help me cite? Okay.
Okay, I wanted to just show Sabita that if I didn't use the for each, sorry, Afi, you're going to talk. If I didn't use for each, it means I'm not going to start using this activity multiple times. Do you understand? So I'm going to take this, unzip the first one, invoice 1. I'll take the second one again, unzip invoice 2, unzip invoice 3. Do you understand? It's going to make my code long and redundant and maybe even useless. So instead of me doing that, I can just use the for each activity to iterate through those files and perform the same set of rules or the same set of instruction for each and every file. Do you understand that? Afi, you can talk.
Yeah, just to buttress what Emmanuel has explained, your for each comes very handy when you have a collection of items you want to perform the same set of actions upon. And for a citizen developer, Emmanuel, can you help us type for each on your activity search bar there?
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see from the result there that there are common scenarios that a citizen developer may find him or herself trying to automate. It could be that you have data in a data table, and so you want to perform a set of actions on each row in that data table. It could also be that you have an Excel file, like Emmanuel pointed out, and you could have a set of actions you want to perform on each Excel row, or maybe each Excel sheet, or it could be each file in a folder, or it could be for each folder in a folder, or it could be for each email in a set of emails you read from an inbox. And so whatever it is, for a set or a collection of items, in this case now data, that you want to perform a set of actions for, like Emmanuel said, instead of doing that action again and again manually, doing a workflow that, for instance, you won't even know how many items may be in that collection. So when you are building your automation, it is handy for you to use the for each, because in case of, in respect of how many items or pieces of data may be in that collection of items, your for each will iterate or loop through each one of them, and that same set of actions or activities you want to perform on each item will be done on each item easily, instead of you manually building that loop by yourself again and again and again and again, repeating it. Okay. Do you understand?
I think, Sarita, I think you got the idea. And anyway, for each is like, if we did that set of actions for each item, it would really defeat the purpose of the automation. So this is why you automate by using for each, and you do not have to put all that items with same function in the RoboPath. So Sarita, I think did you understand well now the for each function? Can you tell us in the chat whether that answer was okay for you, please? Sarita?
Sabita?
Okay, crystal clear. Yes. Yes, so that's the purpose of automating. Yes, that you get to automate anything that is repeated task. Yes, and you do not go for single task, you go for bundle clusters of tasks and you automate it all. Okay, now let's go for the quiz, Emmanuel. And I will stop before you.